Tonight's top stories. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. leads the inauguration and turnover ceremony of the Ibato-Iraan Small Reservoir Irrigation Project in Palawan. National Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. asserts that the Philippines and not China has a say in what to do with BRP Sierra Madre. The lead House prosecutor reacts to a recent comment and insinuation of an upper chamber lawmaker against the prosecution panel. The country's greatest tennis player of all time, Alex the Goat Ayala, gives Pinoy fans something to be proud of anew. Arriba Alexandra. All these and more on PTV News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. Nothing about the small reservoir irrigation project in Arbulan, Palawan is minor or minimal in its impact to some 4,250 farmers who stand to reap its benefits of increased crop production and its extreme climate-resistant features. Our Kenneth Pasienda has more on this 866 peso a million peso irrigation facility that utilizes satellite-assisted monitoring systems and solar-powered irrigation pumps, and which the President was all too glad to launch earlier today.
The President led the inauguration and turnover of the Ibato-Iraan Small Reservoir Irrigation Project in Barangay Sagpangan, Aborlan, Palawan. It is the first reservoir-type irrigation project in the province and was built at a cost of 886.12 million pesos. The President said the project will help irrigate farmlands and provide significant benefits to farmers as it will supply water to more than 1,000 hectares of land in the barangays of Sagpangan, Iraan, and Isaub in Aborlan.
Magkakaroon ng sapat at maaasahang supply ng tubig sa buong taon para sa mahigit 1,000 ektarya ng lupang sakahan dito sa Aborlan. Nasa mahigit 420 farmer beneficiary ang direktang makikinabang sa proyektong ito. Andito yung ating mga namumuno ng mga association at saka mga cooperative. At kayo ang mag-aalaga dito at kayo ang magpapatakbo para mabigyan natin ang ating mga magsasaka ng sapat na tubig kahit na hindi pa dumadating ang ulan. Inaasahan natin na mas maraming sako ng bigas, mas masaganang ani sa gulay, mas malaking kita para sa ating mga magsasaka.
It can also store more than 3 million cubic meters of rainwater.
Sa panahon ngayon, lalo na sa gitna ng tagtuyot o El Nino, hindi na pwedeng umasa lang tayo sa pagdating ng ulan. Dahil nagbabago pati ang panahon. Ang dating alam na natin kung kailan darating ulan, kailan titigil, kung kailan dadaan yung bagyo. Dahil nga sa yung naririnig natin at nababalitaan natin climate change, pabago-bago. Hindi hanggang Disyembre, nagbabagyo na ngayon. Kuminsan yung tagtuyot, nagsisimula, Enero pa. Kaya talagang kailangan ang mga irrigation project na ito. At para naman hindi pabago-bago ang ating ani, hindi pabago-bago ang kita at may seguridad ang bawat pamilyang umaasa sa pagsasaka.
Local farmers said the project will be a great help to their livelihood.
Noon kami ditong mga taga-barangay Sagpangan, Aborlan, wala kaming basakan dahil wala kaming irigasyon. Nakita nung taga niya na posibleng magkaroon kami ng irigasyon kaya ginawa nila ng irigasyon ang Ibato-Iraan Farmers Irrigators Association at ngayon mag-inaugurate na. Nagpapasalamat po kami kay Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Ako po ay taos-pusong nagpapasalamat sa pamunuan ni President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos at sa NIA sa pagbubukas ng patubig dito sa bayan ng Aborlan, upang ito'y makatulong sa produksyon ng palay ng mga magsasaka dito sa aming bayan.
The President once again emphasized that the government's efforts to strengthen country's agriculture sector will not end with this project.
Ginawa din nating mas moderno ang ating mga sistema ng pagsasaka. dito sa Palawan. Magpapatayo tayo ng mga solar power pumps na gumagamit ng AI at yung tinatawag na artificial intelligence, AI Satellite Assisted Monitoring at Fertigation System. Ito po ang mga sistema na tinitignan po ng satellite na lumilipad sa taas at kinukunan at sinasabi sa atin kung saan kung titignan, kinukunan yung sakahan. Sasabihin, sa isang lote, sa isang area, mapapakita, dito tuyo, dito kailangan dagdagan ng fertilizer, dito kailangan bawasan ng fertilizer, dito pahingahin mo na. Yan, ay nakakatulong po yan.
Following the turnover of the project, the concerned stakeholders will take charge of its operations and maintenance. Kenneth Pasyente for the Nation.
Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. has strongly denounced China's interference in the West Philippine Sea, asserting that they have no business meddling in Philippine activities in the area. He believes that the recent provocations are part of a calculated and coordinated design to manipulate the country. Meanwhile, the president recognized and awarded the 2 Filipino soldiers who were injured in the recent Ayungin Shoal encounter. The full details in this Patrick De Jesus report.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. personally visited 2 Philippine Navy soldiers at Camp Recarte Station Hospital in Palawan who were injured after being struck with batons by the China Coast Guard during Monday's encounter. The president recognized their courage and heroism in protecting BRP Sierra Madre, which the China Coast Guard personnel attempted to approach. They were awarded the Order of Lapu-Lapu and received 100,000 pesos each in financial assistance, while the president reaffirmed his full support for the armed forces of the Philippines in defending the country's sovereignty and rights. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. also did not hold back in making strong remarks against China over the incident. The defense chief neither confirmed nor denied whether construction is being carried out on BRP Sierra Madre, which has been grounded at Ayungin Shoal since 1999. This was the allegation made by Chinese Ambassador Jing Chuen, who claimed it violated the 2024 Provisional Understanding and sparked the confrontation. But Teodoro insisted China has no business interfering with any activity undertaken by the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea.
Wala silang karapatan talaga na nandoon sila. Walang hiya talaga. Hindi na ako dapat magpigil eh. Lantaran na to eh. Inuunggoy na tayo eh. Wala akong alam dun sa provisional understanding. Wala silang pakialam kung anong gawin natin sa teritoryo natin. Di na nangahulugan na kinukumpirma ko ang isang bagay o hindi kasi nilalagyan nila na salita yung bibig natin eh.
The Philippine Coast Guard also rejected what it described as the Chinese ambassador's attempt to blame the Philippines for the rising tensions.
Comparing the military base in Mischief Reef and the so-called construction that they are allegedly claiming, who's driving tension? I'm not really sure whether the Chinese ambassador is well aware of what's happening in the West Philippine Sea or he's just stuck with the idea that they own the entire South China Sea.
Teodoro further said that President Marcos conveyed the anger of the Filipino people over the Ayungin Shoal incident when he summoned the Chinese ambassador to Malacanang on Tuesday.
The president is a very diplomatically proper person. However, it is important to state that unconditionally and unequivocally he stood for our rights under the Constitution, the welfare of our country, in various activities that we have been threatened, and he stated in no uncertain terms the anger of the Filipino people over that unjustifiable incident.
The DND chief believes the Ayungin Shoal incident is linked to recent statements by Chinese scholars claiming Batanes is part of China, as well as an AI-generated video from a Chinese state-controlled media outlet that portrayed Filipinos as monkeys.
Isa lang ito sa tinatawag natin mga script para mapaglaruan nila ang Pilipinas at makontrolan nila, no? Let us not view, wag natin tignan ang mga insidente isa-isa. Meron itong disenyo at may timing ito. So, ano ba klaseng laro ito? Hindi karapat-dapat sa Pilipino ito.
Swedish Minister for Defense Paul Johnson reaffirmed Sweden's support for the Philippines in upholding the rules-based international order and freedom of navigation in accordance with the 2016 Arbitral Award. The two countries are also expected to further strengthen their defense cooperation, which was discussed during Johnson's meeting with Teodoro. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
Another harassment incident involving Chinese Coast Guard has been reported within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone as CCG vessels blasted PCG and BFAR ships with water cannons and dangerous maneuvers. This during a humanitarian fuel subsidy mission near Bajo de Masinloc today. Elijah Canlas tells us the full report.
The Chinese Coast Guard once again harassed Philippine vessels on Thursday, deploying water cannons during a government fuel subsidy mission near Bajo de Masinloc. The illegal actions unfolded deep within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ.
And this morning, while the Philippine Coast Guard, together with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, are proceeding to Bajo de Masinloc to locate all those Filipino fishermen, we were immediately challenged by the China Coast Guard 4301, claiming that the Chinese government, that we have entered their contiguous zone of the Chinese government.
Tensions escalated at sea when CCG 3302 got within 50 meters of BRP Datu Dumangsil and fired a water cannon for over 2 minutes, though the stream was not directed straight at the vessel. While no injuries were reported, the aggressive display severely disrupted the humanitarian operation. Adding to the interference, CCG 21579 executed a dangerous maneuver by blocking BRP Datu Paiburong from 500 meters away.
Despite of this kind of harassment of the China Coast Guard, the entire BFAR and Coast Guard vessels still proceeded to our mission, and we were able to locate those Filipino fishermen in Bajo de Masinloc.
To assess the situation from above, Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG Commandant Admiral Reniel Hilgavan, dispatched a Cessna Grand Caravan 2081 for a maritime patrol over Bajo de Masinloc. Even in the air, Chinese harassment continued as the aircraft received a radio challenge from the CCG 35 nautical miles west of Zambales.
For me, this is just the usual harassment of the Chinese government. For me, it is just the usual China Coast Guard trying to waste the resources, flex their muscle, or get the public attention.
Despite the hostile tactics, the Philippine Coast Guard has maintained its routine patrols to defend national sovereignty in the area. On the water, 3 CCG ships were also seen chasing 2 Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR vessels, and the Philippine Navy vessel northeast of the shoal. Nevertheless, MV Mamalakaya and BRP Datu Cabaylo successfully distributed fuel and food packs to local fishermen. In response to the incidents, the PCG and BFAR reaffirmed that Bajo de Masinloc remains an integral part of the Philippine territory under UNCLOS. Elijah Canlas for The Nation.
The president's summon of the Chinese ambassador, sidestepping the typical DFA diplomatic protocol, elevates the maritime dispute to the level of a national security concern, urging Ambassador Jing Huan for a complete stop on such violent clashes. This, as the Chinese envoy claims the latest Ayungin Shoal encounter was a result of a violation of an alleged secret deal between the Philippine Navy and China before the Marcos Jr. presidency. Our Kenneth Paciente tells us more, to include the Vice President's brother's similar threatening remark on the life of the president.
The meeting between President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Chinese Ambassador Jing Wen lasted for an hour and 20 minutes on Tuesday. This came after the Chinese Coast Guard's harassment on Philippine Navy personnel in Ayungin Shoal. According to the palace, the president conveyed to the ambassador the Philippines' desire to ensure that such an incident would not happen again.
Nag-usap sila at ang nais na mangyari dito ng Pangulo ay hindi na maulit ang mga pangyayari at ma-reset sana ang relasyon ng China at ng Pilipinas sa mas magandang pakikipag-ugnayan.
The palace also said it has no information regarding Ambassador Chu Wen's claim that the Philippine Navy allegedly violated an arrangement inked or agreed on in 2024, which supposedly prompted the Chinese Coast Guard to approach the BRP Sierra Madre.
Hindi ko po masasabi kung meron dahil hindi po, kailangan po sa kanya manggaling muna. Kung anong arrangement po yung sinasabi niya. Kasi ang huli po natin nabanggit, ang huli natin nadinig ay ang secret deal. Pero hindi yun sa panahon ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. Diba? Yun yung sinasabing secret deal na hindi dapat gumalaw sa BRP Sierra Madre, right? Pero hindi yun deal with President Marcos Jr.
The palace did not disclose further details of the meeting but said the outcome of the talks was positive. It also stressed that the president remains confident that China will adhere to existing policies.
Well, we are always be in good faith. We should always act in good faith. We should always have in mind that we are dealing with people who will also be in good faith. Mahirap makipag-deal kapag ang kausap mo, iniisip mo agad magsisinungaling. So, dapat nating isipin, nakikipag-usap tayo, nakikipag-negotiate tayo, na yung taong kausap natin ay also in good faith.
But how does this differ from the statements made by Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro, who has openly said that China cannot be trusted?
Nung sinabi nila na kanila daw itong area na to, which is opposite to the arbitral ruling, ano magiging reaksyon ni Secretary Gibo? Siyempre iba. Pero once the President talks to the representative of another country, hindi pwedeng sabihin natin, hindi ako makikipag-usap sa iyo, sinungaling ka. So magkaiba yung sitwasyon. Hindi natin pwedeng pagsamahin. Hindi sila magkapareho. Iba ang estado ng Pangulo, iba ang estado ng Defense Secretary.
On the resumption of the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte, the palace said the president will simply follow the legal processes should his permission be sought to open the BIR box containing the vice president's tax and bank records. The palace also said the president is aware of Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte's statement wishing for or seeking for the president's head. According to Malacanang, such remarks are nothing new, adding it is the obligation of law enforcement agencies to ensure the president's protection. Following disclosures during the impeachment trial that some active uniformed personnel were allegedly among the persons of interest in the alleged assassination plot against the president, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker, the palace was asked whether a loyalty check is necessary.
Yung tiwala ng Pangulo ay nandun pa rin po sa ating mga kasundaluhan. Yung mga balak na tumiwalag para proteksyonan, ipaglaban ang interes ng isang tao, laban sa batas, laban sa konstitusyon, dapat tong malaman kung sino-sino. Sa ngayon po kasi ay alam ng Pangulo kung sino ang mga kailangan mapagtiwalaan. Hindi po ngayon nagkakaroon ng loyalty check. Nasa security na po yan at nasa pamumuno na po yan ng kasundaluhan.
Kenneth, pasyente for the nation.
One cannot help but wonder whether Senator Robin Hood Padilla is trying oh so hard or just being naturally gifted in his jaw-dropping declarations that never fail to infuriate, insult, or put the House prosecution panel, its witnesses, and the audience at large in an insufferable state of awe and shock. The latest of which is his lawyerly joust with House Lead Counsel Jervil Luistro in yesterday's trial session on the validity of its witnesses who have pending administrative or criminal cases, as our Vel Custodio reports.
May I be clarified, Your Honor, on your last question about the senator you said are facing cases?
Alam niyo po, malinaw na po yung sinabi ko and wala po kayong karapatan magtanong sa Senator Judge.
Senator Judge Robin Hood Padilla rebuked lead prosecutor Jervy Luistro after she sought clarification on the subject of his question. The incident was prompted the panel of prosecutors to seek clarification from the Senate Impeachment Court on whether the prosecution and the defense may ask clarificatory questions to senator judges. Earlier, Padilla questioned the credibility of NBI Senior Agent Mark Calilung and Regional Director Jeremy Lotok, citing the perjury cases filed against the two witnesses. However, the discussion later shifted to senators who were allegedly facing cases, leading to Luistro's request for clarification.
Maganda lang din na maliwanagan namin kung mayroong mga katanungan na hindi masyadong maliwanag, no, para malaman namin kung mayroon ba kaming pagkakataon, no, na humingi ng clarification. But just the same, I think both were handled well by the prosecution.
Magandang makapaglinaw po with the Senate Impeachment Court kung yan ho ba talaga yung patakaran ng korte patungkol po doon sa pagtatanong po ng mga panel whether prosecution or defense, no? Kasi precise pagkakasabi po niya Senator Robin Hood Padilla, wala kang karapatang magtanong.
The panel of prosecutor has yet to decide whether to raise its request for clarification through an oral or a formal manifestation before the impeachment court. Meanwhile, as the court begins hearing Article 1 of the Articles of Impeachment on Confidential Funds, two land bank managers, Violeta Constantino and Anita Camposano, are expected to take the stand as witnesses. House of Representative Chief Legislative Archives Officer Marivic Pareja is also set to testify to authenticate the videos and transcript presented during the congressional hearings. Vel Custodio, for the Nation.
In the meantime, Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian is hoping for President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to outline concrete government measures against corruption in his upcoming 5th State of the Nation address, or SONA, on Monday, July 27. Gatchalian emphasized the importance of preventing a recurrence of issues similar to the alleged anomalies involving flood control projects in 2025. He noted that he expects the president to detail the reforms implemented by the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, and other agencies to ensure the efficient and proper use of public funds. The Senate president also stressed that beyond holding individuals accountable, there is a need to understand what structural reforms are being put in place to prevent future issues.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is already in the final stages of the preparation of his speech for the 5th State of the Nation Address, or SONA, which will be held on July 27th at the Batasang Pambansa. This according to Palace Press Officer Claire Castro. The president is personally writing his address and has nearly finished reviewing it. While the palace has not disclosed any specific topics to be covered, it has assured that the address will deal with the administration's accomplishments and key government priorities. The palace has first stated that the event will be held simple yet dignified. Pretty much all preparations are set and in place after today's walkthrough inspection by the House's Office of the Sergeant-at-Arms to include contingency plans for emergencies such as the extreme weather and disasters, security breaches, and the options for the President's arrival and departure. Our Mary Vel Custodio also sampled voices from House lawmakers on what they wish to hear from the President on Monday.
The Office of the Sergeant-at-Arms, or OSA, of the House of Representatives has begun its walkthrough inspections at the Batasan Pambansa, 4 days before President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s State of the Nation address. According to House Sergeant-at-Arms Retired Brigadier General Ferdinand Melchor de la Cruz, this year's SONA will be a simple event.
Kasi from what I learned, last year is, mga previous years, kasama yata yung mga family of congressmen, senators. Ngayon parang they are limited to the spouses na lang. And then yun nga, sa mga important guests, it is mga diplomats, yun na lang, mga VIPs. Pero wala na yung mga masyadong magarbong preparations. Very simple, pero the grandeur is still there, the dignity of the SONA is still maintained.
Around 3,000 people are expected to attend one-day SONA. Although authorities have not received any specific threats, the OSA is ensuring that security inside and around the Batasang Pambansa is tight.
Actually, the Philippine National Police will be deploying accordingly about nasa 22,000 nga, although buong Metro Manila naman. And then the MMDA, who are in charge sa traffic flow, I think they will be deploying about 1,451 of their key personnel. And meron din silang command center, command vehicle that will be set up dito sa Commonwealth.
The armed forces of the Philippines will also remain on standby, depending on the level of threat. Authorities are also prepared for possible emergencies such as heavy rains, earthquakes, and fires. The OSA has also planned contingency measures for the President's arrival and departure depending on the weather on SONA day.
Yesterday we had parang tabletop exercises din, which one of the scenarios is yun nga, yung ganun, ano, yung heavy rains na yung approach or yung ingress ng ating Pangulo ay by land kasi normally naman na nakasanayan through air na darating. So we are prepared also. The MMDA is prepared. The Philippine National Police is prepared also for those eventualities.
The final walkthrough is scheduled on Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, several lawmakers have shared what they hope to hear from President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during his SONA. Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ridon said they expect the President to address the country's economic status.
Bahagi ko naman, very important na mag-clarify siyempre yung Pangulo doon sa bago nating economic status bilang bansa, yung pong pag-abot ng upper middle income status, no? At ano ho yung ibig sabihin po nito sa mga ordinaryong Pilipino, kasi very important po na in the same manner na umunlad po yung estado ng atin po ekonomiya, dapat po ay maramdaman ng atin po mga kababayan nito. So, ibig sabihin, ano ho yung mga actual po mga dagdag pang mga intervention na gagawin ng atin pong Pangulo para maabot po ng iba't ibang mga sektor, lalo po yung mga marginalized sectors, may hirap po natin mga kababayan, ordinaryong mga pamilya, yung pong inabot po ng ating ekonomiya.
While the Nagat Islands Representative Kaka Bagao said she hopes that President will outline the administration legislative priorities that will serve as a guide for government programs.
At dahil ina-address na rin naman ang mga mababatas at mga priority policies, isa sa laging inaasahan sa SONA talaga ay magkaroon ng malinaw na paglatag ng priority ng mga batas na magiging guide sa mga programa sa buong bansa.
So far, the House of Representatives has approved 26 LEDAC priority bills on third and final reading. Vel Custodio for The Nation.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has placed its Disaster Response Command Center under blue alert. This following the entry of Typhoon Quiapo into the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR. The agency is conducting continuous monitoring and coordination with national agencies, local government units, and field offices to ensure a prompt and organized response for areas that may be affected by the severe weather. All DSWD field offices have been placed on heightened alert to facilitate the immediate mobilization of quick response teams. The DSWD has also activated camp coordination and management operations, prepared food and non-food items, and established protection measures for internally displaced persons. Disaster response vehicles and essential equipment are currently being prepared to ensure the swift delivery of aid to impacted communities.
As host of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting, which drew dialogue partners and counterparts from the world's superpowers, DFA Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro urged all her co-equals and stakeholders to adopt the Manila ASEAN Regional Forum's 10-year plan of action in meeting the challenges of the future, including regional security, maritime disputes, transnational crimes, pandemics, terrorism, and humanitarian concerns. Our Gab Humilde has more.
Foreign ministers from member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN, along with their dialogue partners, attended today's ASEAN Regional Forum. The meeting focused on security and peace in the Asia-Pacific region. In her speech, Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro emphasized the importance of dialogue in the face of security challenges. She said that the Philippines' priorities are maintaining peace and adhering to international law, as well as combating transnational crimes, online scams, and cyber attacks.
Strategic competition continues to intensify while traditional and non-traditional security challenges are becoming increasingly enmeshed together. Maritime tensions, transnational crimes, terrorism, climate-related security risks, and humanitarian challenges are exacerbated by the negative implications and humanitarian challenges to these issues. These issues transcend borders and underscore the reality that no nation can address today's complex security environment alone.
The forum also highlighted the adoption of the ARF Manila Plan of Action 2026 to 2036, serving as a guide for strengthened cooperation among member states while ensuring a response to the evolving geopolitical environment. According to Lazaro, this is also an opportunity for nations to unite for the peace and stability of the region. At the 16th East Asia Summit Foreign Ministers meeting, the country's top diplomat highlighted the importance of maintaining a rules-based international order to preserve regional stability amid geopolitical tensions. She also emphasized the importance of cooperation among nations amid global challenges such as conflicts in various parts of the world, the crisis in the Middle East, the impacts of disasters and emerging technologies, and economic issues.
Given the interconnectedness and interdependence of our nations, it has shown that the only way we can navigate the increasingly volatile future is by working together. It is critical that we continue to work as one, not despite these challenges, but because of them. How we respond to the challenges of today determines how well each of us still will fare tomorrow.
The signing ceremony for 4 new contracting parties to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation is scheduled to take place tomorrow as part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of said treaty. Gab Humilde Villegas, for The Nation.
Dollar revenues the country stands to reap from the ambitious multinational and industrial tech venture known as Pax Silica is just too huge to pass up. Hence the array of semiconductor and digital device manufacturing plants and an array of data center warehouses is a must for the Philippines to invest in terms of land, utilities, and manpower. Our Patrick De Jesus hashes over the numbers in this report.
The nickel, copper, and other raw materials that the Philippines usually exports to other countries will soon be processed here in the country and turned into components to help manufacture modern technology and digital products. All of these are part of the planned Pax Silica development set to rise in New Clark City, Capas, Tarlac.
Ang Pax Silica po na ito ay ecosystem po ng mga industries. No, ito po yung mga high-tech industries na gusto nating dalhin dito sa Pilipinas.
Under the Pax Silica initiative, countries led by the United States have committed to strengthening industries such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, data centers, and other advanced technologies by building a resilient supply chain and developing data center infrastructure. The Philippines is among the countries that have signed on and pledged to support the development of this industrial hub. The expected benefits, according to the BCDA, the Philippines could attract between 40 and 70 billion US dollars in investments. generate up to 75 billion pesos in tax revenues and earn nearly 200 billion US dollars from exports.
Ang nakikita nating employment to be generated ay mga 130,000, 290,000 jobs, high quality jobs. Kung magkakaroon po tayo ng arrangement sa magiging lessee, no? O kung magiging lease agreement, commercial agreement to ay mga 60 billion po. Pero ang mas malaki po dito ay yung economic benefits.
30 companies have already expressed interest in investing in Pax Silica. The project will cover 1,600 hectares. 40% of the area will be preserved as open space. The BCDA also clarified that no indigenous people's land will be affected. It also assured that all investors will be required to comply with international laws. But what about the supply of water and electricity? The BCDA says it will build its own impounding water dam.
Una naming tansya ay co-consume ng mga 65 to 90 million liters per day, no? Yung mga industriya na andon. Pero yung initial design na ginawa namin ay nasa 120 million liters per day. Pwede pa namin siyang i-ramp up to 300 million liters per day. Anong ibig sabihin? Sapat po yung tubig na pwedeng pagkuhanan doon.
A Korean and a Japanese company are also conducting feasibility studies to assess the construction of power plants for the project. The BCDA is targeting to begin the construction of Pax Silica in the first quarter of 2028. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
Over 37 million Filipinos are expected to benefit from the financial support under the DSWD's Uplift Assistance Program, with distribution streamlined through digital platforms to ensure aid is delivered efficiently and free from political influence. Carla Luis Candelaria has more.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development continues to roll out financial assistance across the country under the Uplift or Unified Package for Livelihood, Industry, Food and Transport program. The initiative aims to help Filipinos who have been severely affected by rising food and fuel prices amid the continuing tensions in the Middle East. Beneficiaries will be divided into 3 groups. The first group consists of 3.5 million walang gutom and 4-piece beneficiaries. The second group includes 2.5 million poor and near-poor households identified through the 2024 Community-Based Monitoring System or CBMS of the Philippine Statistics Authority. The third group covers employed workers earning a monthly salary of 20,000 pesos or less.
Ito ay inilabas dahil kinakailangan natin protektahan yung ating pong mga kababayan, especially the most vulnerable sector, from the impact niya of the ongoing energy emergency. At dahil dyan sa Uplift, nabuo yung mga iba't ibang mga programa at serbisyo, hindi lamang po na nung ipinapatupad ng DSWD, but ng iba pang mga government agencies.
The DSWD also assured the public that the distribution of assistance will not be used for political purposes. Dumlao said social workers will take the lead in the distribution process to ensure that politicians will have no role in the implementation. The mode of distribution will vary depending on the beneficiary group. 4-piece beneficiaries will receive a one-time 2,000 peso cash assistance through their cash cards. Meanwhile, beneficiaries in the second group will receive their assistance through digital platforms and e-wallets after the initial manual distribution. Those in the third group will receive their assistance through their SSS disbursement accounts.
Titiyakin ng pamahalaan na maipagkaloob ang tulong na ito na mabilis, maayos at mas maginhawa para sa mga Pilipino sa pamamagitan ng digital na pamamaraan.
The department also encouraged beneficiaries to download the eGov app to speed up the verification process. Meanwhile, just days before the President's State of the Nation address, the DSWD also highlighted its key accomplishments this year, including its efforts to combat hunger and malnutrition, as well as the continued rollout of various assistance programs. Carla Luis Candelaria for The Nation.
In the meantime, several groups of drivers and operators have filed petitions for fare increase amid rising fuel costs. So the LTFRB is set to conduct a computation and consultation to determine the final fare hike. This while also exploring alternative relief measures like fuel discounts to support drivers without further burdening commuters. James Thompson tells us more.
The Department of Transportation, or DOTR, has already directed the LTFRB to immediately process the petition of driver and operator groups for a fare hike. This comes as petroleum product prices increase once again due to continuing tensions in the Middle East. Because of this, the LTFRB will recompute the appropriate amount for the fare increase based on the recommendation of some driver and operator groups, which ranges from 2 pesos to 10 pesos. According to Transportation Secretary Bani Lopez, while the agency understands the request of PUV drivers, they will also consider the capacity of the public, especially commuters, if their fares are increased.
Hindi ko sinasabi na hindi natin ibibigay yung fare hike. Ang sinasabi kailangan pag-aralan kapag once stabilized na lahat at kung meron namang ibang government intervention, it will be a targeted approach, talaga po eksakto sa ating mga transport drivers and operators at sa ganun naman maalagaan natin ating mga commuters na hindi tayo nakakatagdag bigat na pagdadagdag ng mga pamasahe.
Consultations by the LTFRB with other regional directors will begin tomorrow. And after 15 days, the LTFRB is expected to have a recommendation regarding fare prices. The DOTR is also considering extending fuel discounts at gas stations instead of raising fares.
Kung kailangan natin palawigin ng mas mataas, no? Kasi if you compute it, itong hinihingi na petition ngayon ng ating mga traditional and modern jeepney, that's 300 and 500 additional kita kapag pinagbigyan natin. Ngayon, kapag ito ba binigay natin yung suppose na hiningi nilang kita, ilalagay natin sa fuel discount if we can add a more amount or mas malaking amount or mas madaming litro, baka naman ma-offset niya kahit papaano. Pero ang bottom line here kasi dito, we protected the commuters. Hindi kailangan magbayad ng pamasahe, targeted yung approach natin, at least po, no, we maintain the inflation kahit papaano po.
While the process for the fare hike petition is underway, the agency assures continuous discounts at gas stations for jeepney and UV Express drivers. Meanwhile, the agency is encouraging gas stations to cooperate and join in providing discounts to drivers to help reduce their fuel costs.
It's open to all gasoline stations. So it's more of, I think, coordinating with this gasoline station na sumali sila, no, na makilahok sila sa programang ito. Kasi we did not limit this sa gasoline station. Ito pa ipagtulungan with DOE and Land Bank. All you have to do is enroll it.
The DOTR assures that additional free rides are on standby for commuters due to transport strikes. The agency also expresses gratitude to local government units that are likewise providing safe and proper free rides that help, especially for daily commuters. J.M. Thompson, for The Nation.
While the Vice President's impeachment trial has consumed much of the time of the senator judges tasked to adjudicate her fate, many have faithfully kept in discharging their legislative duties in the backdrop. Case in point, 2 proposed pieces of legislation on lightening up work application requirements for indigent job seekers, and the other in setting a clear program for certification and licensing of professionals seeking career development. The details in this report from our Bernard Ferrer.
Senate Bill number 638, or the Kabalikat sa Hanap Buhay Act, aims to expand employment opportunities for underprivileged Filipinos by reducing job application costs. Under the proposed measure, poor and indigent job seekers will be entitled to a 20% discount on fees for obtaining government clearances and other certificates required for employment. The bill also provides a fee waiver for the issuance of transcripts of records, transfer credentials, authenticated copies of diplomas, and certificates of good moral character from state universities and colleges and local universities and colleges for qualified indigent job seekers. According to Senate President Sherwin Win Gatchalian, poor and indigent job seekers should not be denied employment opportunities simply because they cannot afford the cost of securing pre-employment documents from various government agencies. Meanwhile, Senator Joel Villanueva is pushing for the establishment of a career progression and skills crediting system. under Senate Bill number 2313 or the Career Progression and Specialization Program and Credit Accumulation and Transfer System Act, workers will have better opportunities for career advancement, specialization, and professional qualification. According to Villanueva, while existing laws promote professional development, there is still no unified framework that ensure the consistent implementation of career progression and the recognition of skills acquired across various professions. The proposed measure directs the Professional Regulation Commission or PRC in coordination with the Civil Service Commission to develop career progression and specialization programs. The proposed measure directs the Professional Regulation Commission or PRC in coordination with the Civil Service Commission to develop career progression and specialization programs for the country's 46 regulated professions. Villanueva emphasized the need to address the continuing challenges in the labor market. Bernard Ferrer for The Nation.
Senator Riza Hontiveros is seeking the assistance of the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, to identify hundreds of social media users who have issued death threats against her. In a statement, the senator condemns the wave of death threats and pro-killing comments which erupted following the July 17 murder of vlogger Mima Alicia in Caloocan City. Hontiveros noted that, rather than expressing sympathy, some social media users celebrated the killing and openly threatened that she would be the next target. The senator's office has been actively documenting the hostility by deleting and reporting disturbing comments on Facebook and has submitted names and screenshots to the NBI. Hontiveros urged both law enforcement and social media platforms to take decisive action against this growing culture of impunity, emphasizing that political differences should never normalize threats to the lives of others. Mounting incidents of bullying in schools nationwide on both male and female victims have left an alarmed Justice Department with no choice but to intervene by means of an agency order to expedite and reinforce government's response to each and every bullying complaint. The full report from our Sheila Natividad.
Seen in this viral video is the brutal assault of a student against his classmate in Olongapo City. The student, wearing a dark t-shirt, punched another student before picking up a chair and attempting to strike him with it. The school administration has referred to the incident as an alleged case of bullying. In a separate incident in Davao City, a grade 3 student died after allegedly being hit with a notebook thrown by a classmate following an argument, according to the police investigation. The incident resulted to brain failure and injury. Authorities are also linking the incident to alleged bullying. In the latest data from the Program for International Student Assessment, an estimated 43% of female students and 53% of male students experienced bullying in school several times within a 1-month period. Following a series of alleged bullying incidents involving students, Justice Secretary Frederick Vida has directed the Department of Justice to issue a department order to strengthen the government's response to such complaints.
Napapanahon po na maglabas ng isang department order addressing anti-bullying. I think napapanahon po ito personally kasi nagbubukas yung school. I think schools have started opening classes.
Under the proposed department order, the DOJ's local prosecution offices and action center will be tasked to receive and act on complaints related to bullying. The order will cover various forms of bullying, including physical, verbal, digital or cyber bullying, as well as other forms of abuse. Its primary objective is to strengthen protection for minors, especially students, while recognizing that schools retain primary jurisdiction over such cases.
Ang kailangan lang po ay hindi nila maramdaman na wala silang matakbuhan, malapitan, or madulugan. May primary jurisdiction talaga ang eskwelahan. Pero kung nakukulangan or ramdam ng biktima na hindi sila napapakinggan ng sapat, nandyan naman po yung kagawan ng katarungan para malapitan.
The department hopes that the issuance of the order will help prevent similar bullying incidents in schools. Sheila Natividad for The Nation.
We'll now give you the latest buzz here at Pop Culture Corner. First up, BTS reunited as a complete group during the 2026 FIFA World Cup final, where they met Hollywood actor Tom Cruise backstage. RM shared a photo of the group with the Mission Impossible star on his Instagram stories. Tom Cruise also delivered a pre-match speech highlighting football's power to unite people across cultures and nations. BTS later headlined the halftime show with their global hit Dynamite, alongside performances from Madonna, Justin Bieber, Shakira, Chris Martin, and Burna Boy. Wang and Yup is set to return to the Philippines for his To You fan meeting in Manila on October 31, 2026. The announcement was made by the actor and his agency KN Studio, with L Squared Productions confirming the event for his Filipino fans. Further details, including the venue, ticket prices, and fan benefits, will be announced soon. In Yup last met his Filipino supporters during his 2025 fan meeting in Manila and has often described the Philippines as his second home after studying in Davao before his acting career. The Korean star will also bring his fan meeting tour to several cities across Asia and South America.
Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala has officially earned a spot in the main draw of the 2026 U.S. Open after being included in the tournament's official singles entry list. The U.S. Open released its official singles entry list on Wednesday, Manila time, with Filipino world number 29 Alex Ayala securing a direct entry into the main draw. By virtue of her world ranking, Ayala will no longer need to go through the qualifying rounds. It will mark her second consecutive main draw appearance at the U.S. Open, following her breakthrough Wimbledon campaign that saw her reach the round of 16 and climb the WTA rankings. Before competing the season's final Grand Slam, scheduled from August 30 to September 13, Ayala will take part in tournaments in Washington, Canada, and Cincinnati as part of her preparation. Gilas Pilipinas slipped 3 places in the latest FIBA Men's World Rankings following a winless campaign in the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup Asian qualifiers. The Philippines fell from number 36 to number 39 after suffering an overtime loss to the New Zealand Tall Blacks in a heavy defeat against Australia during its road games. Despite the drop, Gilas remains the 7th highest ranked team in the Asia-Pacific region, with Australia continuing to hold the top spot. The national team will look to bounce back in the 4th window of the qualifiers when it hosts Jordan on August 28 and Iran on August 30 at the Mall of Asia Arena.
And our food for thought tonight comes from Hasse Yerner, a Swedish writer known for his thought-provoking observations on knowledge, humility, and human nature. And he says, being 99% sure opens up the possibility that you might be 100% wrong. You know, Jay, I think this is very, very simply put, as being open to correction, because even a tiny margin of error or doubt leaves room for an entirely different outcome to happen. How about you?
I would say stay confident, sure, but also stay teachable.
And before we end our newscast, please take the time to like, subscribe, or share PTV's social media pages flashing on your screen right now. It would go a long way, and we would truly appreciate it. And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Sharms Espina.
I'm Jay Esteban. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.